Hello and welcome back to Infinite Banking Step by Step. This is video 2 in the series, and we're going to be getting into the core problem that the infinite banking concept solves. To do so, we're going to look at the volume of interest versus the rate of interest. In the first video in the series, if you haven't watched that, we covered the materials that went into the creation of this course, and we gave a sort of thought experiment that will help you understand why infinite banking is necessary to maximize your wealth and the wealth of those you care about. In the previous video, if you have not seen that yet, we gave an overview of the course, talked about the materials being used to create this course, and talked about a thought experiment to help put us in the right frame of mind. If you haven't seen that, please go back and start there. So broadly speaking, what we're talking about when we talk about infinite banking is recapturing interest that we are currently paying to someone else. Now, this is a problem that most people don't even realize they have. So what exactly is the problem, and why do we need to recapture interest? In normal conversations, usually people focus on the rate of interest. You talk about the interest rate on your savings account, the interest rate on your home or auto loan, perhaps even the rate of interest that you're earning from an investment that you have. We'll talk about investing later in this series, but for now, I just want to focus on the idea of a rate of interest versus the idea of the volume of interest or total interest. So what exactly is the difference? Well, let's think about a home purchase. Right now, the national average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage is around 7%. Now, depending on when you watch this video, you might look at the numbers I've just pulled up on screen and you might think that those are very high, or you might think that they're very low. It just depends. Interest rates change. I've obviously made some assumptions here, but the specific numbers used really don't matter. What we're going to be talking about are core principles, core ideas, and how they apply, regardless of the interest rate. As you can see, we've got a home purchase price of $300,000 with a down payment of 10% or $30,000. We've got a 7.00% interest rate, and the loan term is 30 years. For the sake of convenience and to make calculating months easier, I put it in January of 2024. That's the year I'm recording this video. Scrolling down, we have $4,000 a year in property taxes, $2,700 a year in home insurance, no HOA fees, and PMI or private mortgage insurance of 0.5%. Now again, these are relatively simple numbers, but if you've never looked at something like this before, you might assume that if I make a payment on my mortgage and the rate is 7%, that means that 7% of my payment is going to interest, and the remaining 93% is going to reduce the loan balance. It's reducing the principal on the loan. That is not the case, as you can see. So let's look a little closer. This factors in quite a few details. As you can see, there would be a total of 360 payments. That's 12 times 30 years. And you would repay a total of $270,000 principal. That is the amount that was originally loaned from the bank. However, your interest cost, if you follow this payment schedule, is actually an additional $376,674. So you're paying more to the bank in interest if you follow this schedule than you would pay on the actual original amount loaned, the principal of the loan. Looking at these last 3 sections, you can see principal and interest together is over $646,000. Pity, or principal plus interest plus property taxes plus homeowners insurance, would be a total of $847,674. And then if you wanted to factor in all of the different costs associated with making this home purchase and paying for it over 30 years, you'd have $859,037. But the loan was only for $270,000. That's quite a big disparity. Now, scrolling down a little bit, you can see how this plays out over time. So we're looking at what's called the amortization schedule. Your first payment, now note, your first payment is almost $2,500. I've got that highlighted here for you. It's a little bit less than $2,500. Over $1,500, close to $1,600 of that goes to interest. Your principal payment, your repayment of the original loan balance, is only $221. Property taxes, homeowners insurance, PMI, all of those things are factored in here as well to make the total mortgage payment. But you'll note that after an entire year of paying $2,500 per year, you've only reduced your original $270,000 by not even $3,000. Now, this goes into one of the big things that Nelson Nash focuses on in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. Again, please read that book if you haven't. We're talking about the volume of interest. As you saw, the majority of the money being paid in this loan arrangement is not towards the original balance of the loan that you took. You think, I need to finance $270,000. What you're not thinking of is that that might be over $800,000 in total cost to you. Focusing on $2,500 per month is not helpful when you think about the total volume of interest. And to make matters worse, the way that mortgage amortization works is that the highest interest is at the beginning of the loan, and as you go further into the loan, you pay more towards the principal and less towards the interest. In other words, you're paying the bank first for their trouble and time in giving you the loan. Now, according to 2021 data from the National Association of Realtors, the average U.S. homeowner sells their home about 8 years in to a 30-year or 15-year mortgage. They're in their home for about 8 years before they sell. So you might be wondering, after 8 years of payments, where do things stand? Well, you've made 96 monthly payments of almost $2,500. You've paid almost $237,000 in total payments to your bank. Well, of your $237,000 in payments, almost $145,000 of that has been interest to the bank. Only a little bit more than $28,000 has gone to reducing the principal balance on your loan. So you tell me, in this scenario, who owns your home? Now remember, your original loan was $270,000. You've almost paid the entire amount that you originally loaned from the bank back. As you can see here in the far right column, that is the remaining principal balance on the loan at that time, after the 12 payments in 2031, if you were to take it in January of 2024. So you've paid $237,000 to the bank on a loan that was originally for $270,000, and only about 12%, a little less than 12% of that has actually reduced the balance on the loan. The other 88% went to paying the interest to the bank. About half of that 88% went to the bank. A lot went to your property taxes. A lot went to your mortgage insurance. A lot went to all of these other places. A lot of other people got paid, and you, building an asset in your home, ostensibly, have barely built any value at all. In the description box for this video, you will find a link to the mortgage calculator that I used here, and you are free to play with numbers, and I encourage you to do that. Now, this example was for a mortgage on a home, but the same problem exists with different numbers for a car loan, for financing kids' education, for financing a wedding, for financing equipment for your business, for financing large appliances, for financing the purchase of a business in its entirety. The problem is the problem. It's always there to some extent. And the problem is we're paying a whole lot of interest to other people. And once that money's gone, it's gone. So what do we do about it? Let's look first at what the conventional wisdom tells you to do. In the next video, we'll follow the conventional wisdom and see where it takes us. You should see a link to that video appearing on the screen now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.